Free Eyewitness News begins with breaking news.
And first up at 5:30, the deadly shooting of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. Let's bring you up to speed here. Kirk was shot and killed this afternoon while speaking at an event outside of Utah Valley University. Now, graphic video circulating on social media shows a bullet striking Kirk right in the neck. And an active police investigation is underway, and there is an ongoing search right now for a shooter. A student group had invited the 31-year-old co-founder of Turning Point USA to campus. Today's speech was the first of a 14-stop American comeback tour. Kirk leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. We will continue to follow the developments on this investigation and get them to you as soon as we can. You can get brand new breaking information anytime on the WFSB app. Tomorrow, we will mark one of the darkest dates in our nation's history, 9/11. Today, we spoke with a local police officer who was deployed to New York City immediately after the towers fell. Your reporter Roger Suzanen shares his story from New Haven.
Lieutenant Richard Anderson protects students and faculty members here as a police officer at Southern Connecticut State University. But 24 years ago, he served in a different role as a police officer in Milford, who was deployed to New York City just hours after the towers fell. Now, every September and every other day, he looks back at 9/11 with so much pain and so much pride. Most of us watched in horror on television as the terror of 9/11 played out, but some men and women ran headlong towards the deaths and the danger. Richard Anderson was one of them. The current lieutenant with the SCSU Police Department served as one of 10 Milford police officers who headed to New York City on 9/11 and spent 6 days just steps away from Ground Zero. Now, 24 years later, before the students he now protects were even born, Lieutenant Anderson is still proud of the role he played, but hopes the world remembers all of the heroes we lost on that awful day.
And that's what I don't want people to forget is, the firemen, rescue personnel, police, and civilians who went into the building, to help people, and a lot of them didn't make it out, and they would do it again, I guarantee it. There's not a cop that I know or a fireman I know that wouldn't go into those buildings.
Now, Lieutenant Anderson is not the only SCSU police officer who served in New York City on 9/11. Deputy Chief Ken Ron was also a police officer in Milford who went to New York.
In New York at MetLife Stadium, 7 in the Boston area, Gillette Stadium. The draw ends Friday. Now, successful applicants will be notified at the end of the month of your date and time slot to purchase tickets, which starts October 1st. Now at 5:30, fall sports for high school student athletes around Connecticut getting underway. Tonight, the Seymour girls soccer team is hosting Woodland in our first game of the week. Here, sports reporter Mark Robbins will be on the call tonight. He is live in Seymour, less than a half hour from kickoff there. Hi, Mark. How's it going?
Stephanie, it is a beautiful night, and you're right, less than a half an hour before the kickoff. Of course, you mentioned it. This is the very first midweek Channel 3 WAX high school game of the week. We're going to be featuring the non-football fall sports all fall semester long on the WAX on Wednesday nights, starting tonight at 6 o'clock with this opening kick between Seymour and its one of its rivals, Woodland. Tom Cunningham, the head girls coach here for soccer at Seymour, has joined me. And Tom, thanks for being part of our historic game of the week. And how exciting is it for you guys? You're playing a night game against an arch rival.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day for a game. It's always a good game for us against Woodland, and we appreciate you guys coming out and supporting girls soccer.
It's a battle of unbeatens. They're 2-0. You're not beaten, but you haven't won. 2 ties, but you haven't given up a goal. So you have to be pleased with the first couple of matches.
Yeah, the first 2 matches against Oxford and Watertown were good barometers for us to kind of gauge where we are at the start of the year. Not giving up any goals, but we weren't fortunate enough to score on the other side of it. But our defense is playing well, and we just want to build off of that.
And how about the rivalry? Is this something the girls talk about? I mean, a lot of schools are close together in the Naugatuck Valley League, but this is a big rivalry.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that you mark on your calendar when the schedule comes out. We get to see them twice this year, and it's always a good match. It's always a battle. One of the better games in the NVL. 2 top 5 teams. Usually battling it out.
People are going to watch on the WAX. What will they see?
Well, they'll definitely see some good defense from our girls, but Woodland's a very talented team, so it's going to be a back and forth match. It should be some good soccer.
All right. Will we have goals or won't we? We don't know yet. Tom, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Check it out on the Wax, top of the hour. Seymour hosting Woodland in our high school game of the week. Your sports reporter live in Seymour, Mark Robbins, Channel 3, Eyewitness Sports.
Mark, thank you. Coming up on Eyewitness News, a heart-to-heart conversation. How an event is meant to help women's heart health. Next in Medical Rounds. Also, a whistleblower on Capitol Hill shows unbelievable video during a hearing about UFOs. What it appears to show and why it's raising questions. That's just ahead. But first, let's take a live look outside right now at Bradley International Airport. How the rest of the week looks coming up in your first floor forecast. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Caitlin Francis with This Day in Connecticut History. Boxer Willie Pep launched his successful career on September 10th of 1942 at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Pep was born in Middletown. He faced a boxer from New Jersey in a featherweight fight. Just 2 minutes after he knocked him out, Pep went on to become the world featherweight champion.
You're watching Eyewitness News at 5:30 with Stephanie Simoni and First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mark Dixon. Connecticut's #1 local news. Eyewitness News continues.
The countdown is on for Hartford Healthcare's Heart to Heart event taking place tomorrow. Women, it is time to put your heart health first. Learn the steps you can take to stay healthy, strong, and informed.
And joining us today to tell us more is Dr. Heather Swales. She's the medical director of cardiovascular medicine at Hartford Hospital. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So why is women's heart health still so often overlooked? And maybe what are some of the common signs that we as women might miss?
Great question. I think there's a historical lack of research and emphasis that's been placed on women's heart disease. And a lot of women, as well as healthcare providers, don't realize that heart disease is the leading cause of death in women. And interestingly, although chest discomfort or chest pain can often be the most common symptoms in women are often subtler than they are in men, and they can also present with other symptoms like trouble breathing, nausea, extreme fatigue, sweating, pain in the jaw or back. And women will often blame that on other things like indigestion, stress, or anxiety. So they are not thinking that it could be their heart.
And Dr. Swales, what makes the Hartford Healthcare's Heart to Heart event different, and what can attendees expect to experience there tomorrow?
So it's a really fun event. We've been doing it now for over a decade. I think it's unique because it really brings people together, loved ones, friends, family, colleagues, where women can socialize with each other. We have education about heart disease with a focus on women and heart health. And then we have an amazing entertainer, Gina Barreca, to make people laugh. She's an author, writer, professor, and is very, very fun to listen to.
And so what are some of the biggest misconceptions you think that women have about our risk for heart disease?
I think a lot of women, as I mentioned, they don't realize heart disease is the leading killer. And so they think it's a man's disease. A lot of women also think they're too young to have heart disease. They frequently blame symptoms on other conditions or stressors in their life. And I think because of the symptoms are subtler, it is a little bit more challenging often to identify heart disease as a problem.
All right, Dr. Heather Swales, Hartford Hospital Medical Director of Cardiovascular Medicine, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great event tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Important information. We need to know that sometimes those subtler signs have to be taken seriously. For more information, go to hartfordhealthcare.org/heart.
All right, weather-wise, we are looking good through the end of the week. Tomorrow, a bit brighter, a bit warmer compared to today. Then in the wake of a cold front that's going to move through dry tomorrow evening. Friday, about 5 degrees cooler compared to tomorrow. Normal high for this time of year for the Hartford area is around 78 degrees. So nothing too extreme over the next 7 days. The upcoming weekend, mostly sunny and dry on Saturday. But as we head into Sunday, we're now looking a bit cloudier, perhaps a bit unsettled. Some showers possible possible as a disturbance moves through Sunday, perhaps lingering to Monday. So by no means a washout, certainly a time frame of interest. Something we're going to be watching closely. You can as well, of course, always through the free WFSB First Alert Weather app. And looking ahead a week from today, Connecticut Day at the Big E, upper 70s near 80, lots of sunshine. So we're looking good at least 7 days out for the big event up to our north in West Springfield, Massachusetts. Now, today marks the peak of the hurricane season for the Atlantic Basin, September 10th. So climatologically speaking, that is, looking back at history. So things have been relatively quiet as of late. We've had 6 named storms, only 1 hurricane, and there's a lot of contributing factors to what is now fairly lackluster development. We've got Saharan dust that prevents these storms from intensifying, dry sinking air, and then also increased wind shear. So all of these negative, in fact, factors when it comes to development. The National Hurricane Center watching one wave coming off the coast of Africa. It's in that shade of yellow, which corresponds to a low likelihood for development over the next 5 to 7 days. Something, of course, we're going to be watching very closely. Getting down in our list of names for this season, if we get our next tropical storm, when that happens, it would take on the name Gabrielle. Right now in Connecticut, we're enjoying a clearing sky. Cloud cover is going to be eroding as the evening progresses, so some late day sunshine reaching the hills of northwest Connecticut. Looking live from Torrington. Some scattered clouds from along the shoreline in Old Saybrook, but those also will be breaking up as the evening progresses. And of course, the state's only live radar, First Alert live radar, it is getting dry, and it will do so until perhaps the second half of the upcoming week. And here's a snapshot of Sunday morning. You see the specks of green, both the American and the European model, showing at least that chance for some showers again over the second half of the weekend. In the meantime, tomorrow for our Thursday, after a cool start, we're in the 50s by 8 o'clock in the morning inland, low 60s the shoreline, between 70 and 75 by lunchtime, up to near, if not above 80 by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Fast forward to Friday, we're back in the low and mid 70s, but we're going to end the week with ample sunshine. And we've got Friday night football, of course, our game of the week, Stafford at Middletown. Temps at 5 o'clock initially in the low 70s as we head past sunset, dropping into the 60s under a mainly clear sky. So great weather for Friday night football, for heading to a local fair, or as well to the Big E as it kicks off in West Springfield on Friday as well. So abundant sunshine to end the week. Then on Saturday, mostly sunny, seasonable, highs in the mid 70s. And then by Sunday, clouding up with that chance for a couple showers.
Right. Very nice, Mark. Thank you. Now at 5:30, there's a new flavor for the legendary candy that melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Honey roasted peanut M&Ms have arrived. The new flavor will be a permanent member of the M&Ms lineup, in addition to the classic plain and peanut M&Ms. Other flavors include pretzel, peanut butter and jelly, cookies and cream, caramel, and chocolate pumpkin pie. Dick's Sporting Goods says it has finalized its deal to acquire Foot Locker. In May, the company said it was a $2.4 billion deal. Dick's will continue to operate Foot Locker, a footwear and apparel retailer, and its other brands. The merger will create more than 3,200 locations across 20 countries worldwide. Still ahead, new video raising questions in the nation's capital. It appears to show a missile hitting an unidentified object. What it could be when Eyewitness News at 5:30 returns. A close encounter on Capitol Hill with a whistleblower showing some extraordinary video about a hearing on UFOs. It seems to show a U.S. military drone shooting a missile at an unidentified object. But as CBS's Charlie D'Agata reports, the aerial mission didn't go as planned.
The newly released video captured by a U.S. Reaper drone shows a glowing orb off the coast of Yemen. Suddenly, on the left side of your screen, you see a Hellfire missile zip in, strike that unidentified object, then bounce right off it. When we slow the video down, you see the Hellfire missile continue to travel on its path, that trajectory becoming clearer from this zoomed-out angle. Not shown is a second Reaper drone that launched the missile. Congressman Eric Burleson shared the video at a House Oversight Committee on what the military calls unidentified aerial phenomena, better known as UFOs.
That's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
We've never seen a Hellfire missile hit a target and bounce off.
Lou Elizondo is a former senior intelligence officer with the Pentagon.
When a Hellfire makes a hit, a kinetic strike on something solid, there's usually not much left. of whatever it is it's hitting. It's very, very destructive. What seems to happen is that the missile is either redirected or in some case perhaps glances off the object and continues on its way.
A recent government report revealed the government received more than 750 new UAP sightings in the 2024 fiscal year, leaving lawmakers digging into the mystery and national security concerns posed by these objects.
Does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes. Yes.
Me too. There's a lot of information that's not in that video, like what mission they were on, and as they said, what are we even looking at here? We do know that the U.S. military was conducting airstrikes against Houthi targets at the time. Pentagon officials tell CBS News, no comment. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, Washington.
All right, 5 Saturdays from this Saturday is the Hartford Marathon, half marathon, relay, and 5K. So if you're perhaps doing some running, getting in your miles in preparation for whatever race you may be participating in. Tomorrow, a great start to the day. Temperatures in the 40s and low 50s early in the day. By tomorrow, evening temperatures that peak near 80, drop through the 70s as we head toward and past sunset. And Friday, of course, the Big E begins, and temperatures during the day that start off in the 60s when the gates open around 8 o'clock in the morning, head into the mid-70s during the afternoon, back in the 60s after sunset. Now, the upcoming weekend, great for a local fair or wherever your plans may take you. Saturday's bright, Sunday increasing cloudiness, a little bit milder compared to Saturday with a chance at least for some showers, but by no means a washout. Much more, of course, on the weekend and beyond ahead on Eyewitness News at 6.
All right, Mark, thank you. Eyewitness News at 6 coming up next. We are staying on top of that. Breaking news, the shooting death of Charlie Kirk and how local leaders are now reacting.
Also, our I-team is continuing to try and get answers about one of the highest paid state employees. Today, we took our questions to Governor Lamont.
Also, preventing floods in the Naugatuck Valley. Officials in the region have ideas on how to do it after being devastated last year. I'll look at those plans ahead.
And a few dogs are now living at a correctional center in the state. The role they'll play for now and how inmates will get them ready for their futures.
Those stories and your first look forecast when you join us next at 6.